Mark Hall, thank you very much for being here with us today. I must say, a phenomenal documentary, Killing Ed. In the making of the movie itself, what are some of the most striking aspects that you discovered about this group?
Well, I think one of the things that I found very interesting was when we interviewed former followers of Fethullah Gulen, who were still very cautious about appearing on camera. We had to make their identities anonymous. But some of the stories that they told us, which you see in Killing Ed, are really quite shocking, because the Gulen movement here in the United States has portrayed itself as a very peaceful organization that's focused primarily on education and doing good things. So the real things that stuck out to me were the fact that they were a group that was 180 degrees different from how they had convinced our politicians in the United States, our media. Unfortunately, journalists still believe in many cases that this is a very positive group.
And I know it's just been recently released, but can you tell me how the film has been received so far?
Politicians don't like seeing their names and faces on a big movie screen being implicated in corruption. Members of the media don't like the fact that their story is being told somewhat differently in this film from how they have portrayed it in the press and so forth. And academicians, people in our universities here in the United States, are very reluctant to perhaps admit that they've been wrong about the Gulen movement. A lot of these academics do believe that Fethullah Gulen is a very mild-mannered Sufi, that he has no interest in any type of violence. But as we see from the coup attempt last year in Turkey, that's not true.
And for those who might not know anything about the group, what are some of the findings that could incriminate this group called the Fetö cult?
Well, I think what we show in the film is that there is a clear link between Fethullah Gulen, who is living now in the northeastern part of the state of Pennsylvania, and his followers. And we have the evidence, I think, in the film that demonstrates that the individual schools that may operate around the United States and the various states, they are all connected to Fethullah Gulen, from the local level to the national level to the international level. Let's not forget that there's some 1,400 schools operated by the Gulen movement around the world. Now, some of these are being closed by the request of the Turkish government after the coup event and after the implication of the Gulen movement in the coup in Turkey. But here in the United States, we haven't seen any efforts by the United States government to close down the charter schools here.
You're saying that with 6 years of research, with this documentary, you only managed to reveal the tip of the iceberg. What further questions are you still left wondering?
I guess the biggest questions for me is why did the system here in the United States fail to a point, and by system I mean our law enforcement, our judiciary, our political system, our educational system. Why did all of these things that should be well monitored, that should be policed in effect, why did they all fail to allow this group, this what I would call a criminal conspiracy organization, to grow here in the United States? In effect, the Gulen movement is kind of a modern-day mafia, and it is taking money from taxpayers, using it for its own purposes. It's affiliated companies that are operated by Gulen movement members in construction, catering, and other things. They're all feeding off of this big cash cow that are their schools in the United States. The biggest question to me is, how did that failure happen here in a country that has a system of laws, in a country that has free press and freedom of speech? How did those things occur, and how did they occur in such a short amount of time? Like you say, it's nearing $1 billion that the Gulen movement in the United States is amassing every year. And of course, some of that money is being used in ways that I don't think Americans or Turkish people would want to see that money being devoted to. There are many questions. It's only the tip of the iceberg, and I hope time will tell us the full story.
Mark Hall, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.